Welcome back to She Will Empower. I'm your host, Jessica Cherry. I'm a strategic intervention and empowerment coach, an NLP practitioner, an award winning writer, a community director, your Central Texas resident sound bath girly, and your Tuesday morning wake up club host on 94.3 KWVH Wimberley Valley Radio, where we bring real talk, real tools, and real empowerment straight to the airways. And if this is your first time here, welcome. You didn't find this episode by accident. So today, I want you to take a pause with me for just a moment and let's settle into this time. We are into the last few days of 2025, and everyone is talking about resolutions, what to change, what to keep, and all the things that come along with this time of year, right? I mean, this is just what we do in December. The last couple of weeks in any year, we always have a time for reflection and always come with a pause to look at how we've lived our past year, right? So, before we talk about money, before we talk about success, and before we talk about business, opportunity, or growth, we have to talk about people because people are a community. We're a community type of animal, right? Starting from, of course, many years ago, before we were even here, we have always been a community centered population. So, I want to talk about this in modern times, obviously, and I want to talk about your network, which I have come to find out, especially in the last 5 years, is extremely important. And I'll be honest, I didn't always believe in this. They say your network is your net worth. And I remember thinking, oh, that's just nonsense. I'm not gonna believe in all that. I'm gonna stick to myself. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna keep my nose on the grind, and I'm gonna have my work speak for itself. And I don't have to know anyone or rely on anyone, and I'll be okay, people, okay? People, I didn't need people, or so I thought. Now, I want you to hear this slowly. Your network is not just who you know. Your network is who shapes how you think. And how you think shapes everything you earn, you build, and you become. So today's episode is about why your network is your net worth and why your environment determines your elevation. So it's about why some people seem like doors magically open for them. Do you know those? I know those. And why some people always seem to know someone, and why some people rise faster or recover quicker and scale smoother than others. Because here's a truth that most people don't want to hear: it's not luck and it's not privilege, it's proximity. So there's a quote from Tony Robbins which teaches this so powerfully, and it is success leaves clues. All right. Success leaves clues. And the biggest clues of all, successful people intentionally build successful networks. Have you seen that? Because I have seen that. Successful people intentionally build successful networks. So let's dig into this and talk about why you should have this on your 2026 agenda. So, from an NLP lens, which, if you don't know what NLP stands for, it is neuro linguistic programming, which I am a practitioner of. So, I deal with your brain. Your network is constantly reinforcing what feels normal, what feels possible, what feels safe, and what feels too much. Every conversation you have is conditioning your nervous system. So every room you sit in is either expanding your identity or shrinking it. Your brain is always asking, who do I need to be to belong here? And most people don't even realize they've been shrinking themselves to stay connected. And so today we're going to break that pattern, okay? But before we dive into breaking the pattern, I want to say that I see this every single month firsthand with my own two eyes. So, I am the director of a women's network and empowerment organization, and every single month, I host monthly empowerment networking events. And let me tell you, I have seen firsthand women that have been so scared to talk to others. I mean, they're terrified to talk to others who have sat in the corner at first, but kept showing up for themselves and have pushed through their fear to blossom not only personality wise, but have also expanded their business from struggling to thriving because of their network, because they see that who they know and what they know can equal success at a faster rate. Now, I'm not saying that one cannot exist without the other. You can definitely be a leader in your field and be the best, but it helps quite a bit if your network is robust versus, you don't know anyone and have not taken the time to invest in the community that you live and you work in. Let me explain. Your network normalizes possibility. So you don't rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of what feels normal around you. So when everyone around you, so this is your network, talks about living in survival mode constantly, or complains about money all the time, or believes success is rare, so it's just not for them, so they don't even try, or sees ambition as arrogance. Your nervous system and your brain learns that growth equals danger. Let me give you a real life example. So, for example, there's a woman making 45,000 a year who only spends time with people struggling financially and always complain, and they never strive to be more or become more. So they spend their time complaining, capping their success, and sharing only negativity. That woman will subconsciously cap herself, no matter how motivated she is. But place that woman in the same room where everyone is making $100,000 a year, and that's normal. Business ownership is really common. Conversations include investments, boundaries, leverage, all the things that are successful. And suddenly, her brain recalibrates and thinks, oh, this is possible. I mean, if they can do this, I can totally do this. So, there's a saying that goes, tell me who your five closest friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. Right? Right. You might have heard that. It's an old saying that I heard growing up, and it is so true. I'll give you another example. And this one may hit home for many of you because it does for me. It is your Facebook feed of your friends. So if your feed is like mine and it is an accumulation of people from many eras in your life, I'm sure that you can say who on your feed are their own worst enemy, who are constant complainers, or even who is about drama. I know who is about drama on my feed, or who seems to be successful no matter what is thrown at them, right? Like they always are overcoming things, or who always tries new things, even if they fail, right? Even if they fail, they still try and they are the risk takers. There are so many different people on social media, but my point is, we know who fits into what category. There are several studies about this, and there is one study out there that had a group of people that I want to talk to you about. So there's these two groups of people, and they intentionally placed a complainer in one group without letting the group know. And then they tasked them with completing a group task. Now, the group with the complainer, their performance dropped by approximately 30 to 40%. Now, that 30 to 40%, that's a lot. And that decline happened even when the complainer was not the least competent person in the group. So that's interesting. So that study was done by Phelps, Mitchell, and Byington. So if you want to research more of that, and it's called How, When, and Why Bad Apples Spoil the Barrel. So negative group members and dysfunctional groups. Super interesting. I love that. And that is a rabbit hole of a study. But to sum it up, they found that a negative individual caused lower trust and cooperation, reduced motivation in the group. There was cognitive distraction and more time venting versus producing with a decreased problem solving capacity. So, my point is your network and who you surround yourself with is so, so important. So let's get back to me being a women's empowerment and networking director, as well as an empowerment coach. I have seen women attend one event, just one, where the right conversations happened. And within 6 months, they raised their prices where they were shortchanging themselves. They changed careers. They started businesses. They left toxic relationships, and not because of information that they didn't have before. No, it was because of exposure, which is super interesting. Now, let's go on to reason number two, why your network is your net worth. Your network shapes your identity. So, in NLP, so neuro linguistic programming, identity is the highest driver of behavior. And identity is shaped through mirrors. So, if the people around you see you as the struggling one, or the emotional one, or the one that always needs help, you'll unconsciously live into that role. But when your network sees you as a leader, a peer, a person with potential, you'll rise to meet that identity. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. So, think about how differently you show up when you're around your old friends from childhood or your partying days or back in the day days, versus around professional peers. You have a different posture, you speak differently, you have a different language, and you have a different confidence. It's totally different. That is identity in motion. Now, let me give you another example. Let's talk about the people that join mastermind groups, for example, for whatever they want to expand on. They often say, I don't even recognize myself anymore. And that's not accidental. That's identity expansion through proximity. They surround themselves with a network, and through that network, they build their net worth levels up. So, let me give you reason number three why your network is your net worth. Your network opens or closes access. Now, I want to talk about this because this is something that I personally lived, and I've experienced this heavily myself, as well as I have seen so many close friends this past couple of years go through, especially this year with employment opportunities. Opportunities don't come only from resumes. Now, let me explain this. I have seen so many highly talented, highly skilled people apply for positions they were perfect for. I mean, perfect for, qualified for, and would be an amazing fit, and they didn't get a job. And it's not because they were not a good candidate at all. It's because the other person's network helped them get in. Now, I'm not saying that this is right. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But what I'm saying is, I have seen that happen a lot recently. And opportunities are coming from relationships. Now, do you have to be qualified? Of course. Of course, you have to be qualified, right? Let me say that. Most jobs, partnerships, speaking gigs, collaborations, and investments happen through referrals, introductions, and trusted connections. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. For example, a person struggling to find clients starts attending an aligned networking group, right? Not to sell, just to connect. So 6 months later, what happens? Their book's solid. They didn't have to run ads, and they didn't pitch. They became known. They built their network, they built their connection by connection, and that is net worth. All right, I'll give you another example. On the flip side, let's do the flip side about this. So, another person stays isolated, saying, I'll network once I feel more confident. And here's the thing, confidence comes from connection, not before it. Isolation delays access. Isolation delays access. And yes, social media and meeting people on social media is wonderful. Social media is amazing. Look who I am. I have built amazing things off social media. Social media is wonderful, but nothing beats real life connection. So let me give you another reason. This is reason four. Your network regulates your nervous system. Now, This one is huge, but it is rarely discussed. Your nervous system co regulates with the people that are around you. So, who you surround yourself with, again, is totally important. If your circle panics easily, if they're always living in panic, if they're always living in fear, right? If you're around people that are constantly fearful or shames ambition, right? If you are around people that shame ambition or punish growth, your body is going to stay in survival mode. But when your network celebrates wins and celebrates you and speaks possibilities and hypes you up when you share your dreams and goals instead of knocking you down, and handle stress well, when you're around people that handle stress well and models regulation, guess what happens? Your body learns there is safety in expansion. And that's beautiful. That is beautiful to me. So let me give you a real life example of that. Have you ever noticed how being around calm, confident people makes you feel calmer? That is co-regulation. And so, you get the vibe where you look at people and you're like, wow, they handle everything so well. I want to be around them. I want their energy. I just want to, siphon their energy. How do they do it? And then you end up being around them and then you adopt how they are. That's co-regulation. And it also can be on the flip side too, where you're around people that just don't regulate well. So something to think about. So let me give you another example. People who leave toxic environments often say, I didn't realize how tense this was until I wasn't in it anymore, right? And we always hear that when people leave like bad work environments or bad relationships, they always end up with the hindsight being 2020, and they always say, I didn't realize how bad it was when I was in it until I left, right? So your nervous system knows who's safe. It's the subconscious mind, it's the gut feeling that you get around people. So gut feeling is real, y'all. It's a real thing. So trust your gut. And reason number 5, your network reflects your self worth. So let me explain this. It's a really hard but loving truth. I'm speaking out of love here. You are always networking at the level you believe you deserve. Now, this has absolutely nothing to do with anyone else. This is how you feel about yourself. If you feel unworthy, and trust me, I have been here myself. I have lived in this space, in this mental space, and I vividly remember these feelings. If you feel unworthy, this is what's going to happen. You stay small. You avoid rooms and you downplay your value, which is so important. When I used to downplay my value, I used to let things that people did to me slide because I undervalued myself. And God, I look back and, ooh, I wish, everything happens for a reason. And that was my learning period. I was so young. But I want to say everybody goes through that, right? You are so valuable. There is only one you, and I know that sounds so cliche and everybody says, "Oh, you're so valuable, there's only one you," but it's true. It is so true. There is absolutely one you in this world, and that is so unique and it's so needed in this world. We cannot all be cookie cutter, right? There's no fun and excitement and uniqueness in being cookie cutter. Everybody has something special about them. And if you feel worthy, you will introduce yourself boldly. You'll stand tall. You'll stand tall physically, mentally, and spiritually. You take up space without the fear of doing so, and you'll invest in proximity. So, let me give you a real life example of what I mean by all of this. People who say, I don't belong in those rooms, are often the exact people that should be in there. 100%. It's just your mind. Your mind ca You can be your own worst enemy, right? You can be your own obstacle. Once a person shifts their self-worth, their network upgrades naturally without forcing anything because they're no longer tolerating misalignment. So now that we have talked about all that, right? How your network is your network, let's talk about how to upgrade your network, right? So again, we are at the last week of 2025. So this is the perfect time to dive into self-love and get this self-love project going for yourself and really make your 2026 everything you want it to be and live in alignment. So, what I want you to do is ask yourself these following questions, okay? You can get a pen and paper, you can pause this, but I really want you to ask yourself this. Number one, who do I feel energized around? Number two, who expands my thinking, right? In a positive way. Who expands my thinking? Number three, who models the life that I want? Who models the life that I want? And four, who challenges me with love? Who challenges me with love and who celebrates my growth, right? That's a really important one because sometimes when you're growing, if you're not around the right people, there's a lot of jealousy and sabotaging talk that can happen, and I don't like I've been around people that I have shared victories with or celebrations, and you can just feel the vibe off of them, the jealousy or something, it's not a good feeling. So think about who celebrates your growth, and just as important are these questions. Who drains me? Who minimizes me and who keeps me stuck in old roles. So, this isn't about abandoning people. I don't want you to have a list of, I'm not going to hang out with. No, that's not what I mean. It's about intentional proximity. All right. This is about making your network your net worth and really putting yourself and your life and how you want to live in your life, right? The spotlight is now. The spotlight is on you now. So, the turning of the year always brings reflections. And this is such a great time to really think about your surroundings, what types of conversations you're having, because your conversations are what you feed your brain. And in turn, what you feed your self esteem and how you act and how you feel. And all that really plays into your thinking and daily habits and the visions that you have for your life and your goals and all that. It's all a big ball. Everything is a collective and everything plays with one another in the story of your life. So make it a good one. I want to make this land for you. You don't need to become someone else. You need to stand in rooms that reflect who you're becoming. So your network is your net worth because it shapes your thoughts, it regulates your nervous system, it reinforces your identity, it opens doors, it expands possibilities for you. And the moment you choose your environment consciously, your entire life shifts. You don't rise alone, you rise together. So choose rooms that require you to rise. Choose people who speak your future. And choose proximity that calls your power forward. This is how you build wealth that lasts. I'm Jessica Cherry, and this is She Will Empower. And if you're tuning in on a Sunday morning through KWVH 94.3 Wimberley Valley Radio, thank you for spending part of your day with me. And remember this, you are capable of far more than you've ever allowed yourself to imagine. Your dreams are not too big, and your timeline is not too late. And if you're not where you want to be yet, you always have permission to rewire, reset, and begin again. Thank you for being here today, beautiful friends. If this episode supported you, if it offered a new perspective, a moment of relief, or even one tool that you can tuck in your back pocket, please share it. Share it with a friend, with a coworker, with your team, or with anyone who could use a little more clarity and peace in the world. Because here's the truth. We never know who needs a message until we pass it forward. And that, my friends, is how empowerment spreads. And before you head out, I want you to remember this. You are not alone in this journey. If you need support, tools, or guidance, or reclaiming your power, I am here. This is my work and my passion, and I truly love this. You can download my free e-guide, 10 Steps from Here to Your Next Level. I'll link it in the show notes, and you can also help yourself get to your best level yet, especially since we're turning into 2026. My name is Jessica Cherry, and this is She Will Empower. It's your space for truth, tools, and transformation. And you can catch new episodes as they drop every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on KWVH 94.3 Wimberley Valley Radio. And of course, anytime, anywhere on your favorite podcast platform. Just search She Will Empower, and I'll pop right up for you. And if you're an early riser, Come join me every Tuesday morning on the Wake Up Club on Wimberley Valley Radio from 7 to 9 a.m. It's cozy, fun, full of great music and conversations. Truly the best way to start your morning. And if you're in Central Texas and your nervous system feels wired, shot, overwhelmed, or like you're running on fumes, come see me in person at Lone Star Sound Bath. Just search Lone Star Sound Bath on social media and you'll find me. I guide immersive sound bath experiences designed to help you soften, settle, and reset your mind, body, and spirit. It's one of the most healing offerings I provide, and I love serving our community this way. And you can also connect with me through Ladies Lifestyle Network Hayes County, where I host monthly empowerment and networking events. These gatherings are helpful, full of powerful speakers, local nonprofits, incredible vendors, and stunning hill country venues. Women come to these events to grow, to be seen, and to rise together. And I've witnessed beautiful friendships and life changing business connections from right in those rooms. And if you want to follow my personal journey of motherhood, entrepreneurship, healing, and the behind the scenes of our family life, you can find me at Life of a Cherry Wife on social media. Thank you so much for tuning in today, for showing up, for doing the work, and for choosing growth even when it stretches you. And before you go, I want you to do one small thing for your future self, even something tiny, because one tiny move today can become the moment that changes everything. Tiny moves create big impact. Stay powerful, stay grounded, stay connected, and have the most peaceful, joy-filled holiday season. I'll see you next time. Bye.